learned so much about things that we had absolutely no interest in as undergraduates. And it just, Cornell opens up door and window one after another. It's truly been a remarkable place. And this is how I met Andre. As you know, Andre's kind of on loan here from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. About 10 years ago, my wife suggested that we go on a birding trip sponsored by the Laboratory of Ornithology. I thought she was absolutely crazy. I said, there is no way. There's no way I'm going to put on one of those funny hats and go looking for birds. And she said, no, do it. I'm not, look, this is not for me. Well, it was a life-changing experience that I had. And it was shortly thereafter that I became more involved with the Lab of Ornithology, and I just finished my second term on the advisory board of the lab, and it has been life-changing, and it's also been eye-opening, and it's been an absolutely wonderful thing. I hope if I won't ask for the show of hands, but if I did about who's been up to the lab, I hope I would see every hand in the room. Yeah? Okay, I'm not going to embarrass anyone. It's really one of Cornell's absolute gems, that building and its grounds. And even if you're not into birding, those walks up there are just absolutely spectacular. And as you leave Ithaca and you go to Timbuktu or wherever you're going to be, one of the places that, they'll say, where did you go to college? You say to Cornell. They say, oh, that's the bird place. Well, it's one of those, we are absolutely, without question, the absolutely best place for birds in the world. And everybody knows, well, everybody knows Cornell for a lot of different things, but certainly birds are one of those. So that's kind of how I come to here. And again, I'm delighted to be here. Now, I understand that most of these talks hinge around a book. And my disclaimer right up front is I am not an author. I have written a book, but there's a difference, a very strong difference between the two. I love to make fun of my Harvard colleagues who they are a little full of themselves. And when I tell my students they're lucky to be at the Cornell on the Charles, they kind of look at me like, what are you talking about? But there, you say, well, I've just finished a book. Well, when I hear that somebody say that, I said, oh, well, what book did you read? Oh, no, I just wrote a book. So, wrote a book. Well, I felt maybe you needed to write a book. And in fact, ever since an undergraduate days, there was a topic in which I've been very interested in. And it wasn't transportation planning, it wasn't engineering, it wasn't economics or anything else. It was about the Cornell bear. Now, before I tell you about the Cornell bear, I need to go back to 1973, the fall of 1973. And again, another disclaimer, and this is one that my wife says, you should never say this. That's what I said. But if you read the book, you'll find that anyway. So this is kind of we're all among friends here, right? So I decided I would become a cheerleader in the fall of 1973. Why? I have no idea. But it sounded like a good idea at the time. I was having a great time at Cornell. This looked like it'd be even more fun. What the heck? Let's do it. Now, well, yeah. I'm not a gymnast. I can't do a cartwheel. But there were some other attributes I brought to the party which were useful. And at that time, there was a bear on the sidelines, a faux bear like we have today. But the tradition of the day was you'd never know that he was in the bear suit. The identity of we thought it was assumed it was a person in the bear suit. We didn't know who that person was. And it was this big secret. Well, it was the second game of the season. We were in Hamilton, New York, playing Colgate. And it was a beautiful, crisp fall day in September. I remember it like it was yesterday. And it's halftime. I forget the score. That was kind of irrelevant. And we heard in the Colgate stand this chant, "Get the bear! Get the bear!" What's happening now? And then all of a sudden we saw these people streaming out of the Colgate stand, running after our bear. Now, before I tell you what happened, I'll tell you something what we found out later. Our bear was legally blind. He could kind of get around, but he would bump into things. And we didn't know whether that was an optical problem or whether it was just the bear head was kind of ill-fitting. But the bear head actually was kind of this actually wouldn't get one too close to the bear because this bear suit had been through everything. It was a nasty thing. But the bear head, it had one eye, kind of like regular size, and there was another eye that was much larger. It was about the size of an adult beverage can. And this is how our bear hydrated through his eye. It was somewhat unusual. Well, the Colgate people are coming out of the stands, and with the chant, "Get the bear," we tell the bear, to run. Now our bear can't see, so he takes about 10 steps, gets up to speed, and slams right into the goalpost and knocks himself out cold. He's absolutely inert on the ground in the end zone, and we don't know what to do. We don't dare take his head off because that would his identity would be compromised. But he's kind of not breathing. So what are we going to do? We yank the head off, and we said, "Oh my gosh, it's this guy that we've been in classes with for the last 40 years." And a very good friend to this day, who has a sophomore daughter here at Cornell. Well, that piqued my interest about the Cornell bear. Why do we have a Cornell bear? It's not our mascot. We don't have a mascot. We're one of the few colleges in the country that don't have a mascot. So you say, what is this bear? I mean, you see a bear everywhere. He's not our mascot. There's no record of there ever being a student assembly statute or a decree from Day Hall or anything else. Cornell does not have a mascot. We're the Big Red. End of story. But we have a bear. What gives? Well, this was the mystery that I wanted to uncover. And I thought there might